what are we at now? Number 6. We're gonna go with Ric Flair. And there's a whole plethora of NWA Ric Flair promos. It's kind of like take your pick. But one of the ones was the J.R. Ewing analogy or comparison, and it was on Dusty Rhodes and just a vintage Flair promo. What stands out about this particular Flair promo?
What stands out, it's just, I think this is one of the first promos that, really makes Flair look bigger than life, where it really makes him look like, an icon in professional wrestling. He's got the glasses, he's got the suit, he's got the belt with him. Diamonds are forever, and so is Ric Flair. He's probably said that 1,000 times, but I just kind of felt like this promo, his use of the J.R. Ewing comparison, for a lot of us, we probably didn't even watch the show Dallas, but I just felt like he made that promo really about him, and he just had a lot of flair and personality in it. And I'm sure there are people out there who might be like, wait, come on, that's the Flair promo you picked? I just feel like he was in his prime, and that was just the pinnacle of his success. So.
All right, moving right along. At number 5, we're going to go with Paul Heyman's SmackDown promo right before Survivor Series 2001 on Vince McMahon, where he pretty much let out 10 years of frustration and anger and pain and really shot on everything. This is the promo when Heyman went like, "We have to have sports entertainment." I mean, he really, it's just one of the most awesome, unleashes in WWE history. I mean, he just really went off on Vince. I mean, what were your thoughts on the Heyman promo?
My thoughts were just, wow. It looked like he was just venting. He's finally getting all this stuff off of his chest that he had for years that he wanted to let out, not just on Vince McMahon, but on people in WCW. And, he said, "I hate you, Vince. I hate your guts." And it was, I think, you could just feel that passion. Paul Heyman was so good at sort of just breaking all the rules, breaking all the boundaries, and letting all the shit just hit the fan. And he would do it inside of 3 to 5 minutes. Paul Heyman would give you all that suspense. And saying it right to Vince McMahon's face just made you, like, it was so discomforting. Like, he just wanted to kill him. And that's...
And nobody has the kind of passion that Paul Heyman had. It's something that professional wrestling is missing right now. This guy he's just in tune with what society wants. I've always felt that way. So hopefully Paul Heyman will make a comeback soon. All right, number 4, we have CM Punk's shoot on Raw. Like I said, there's a shitload of CM Punk promos from Ring of Honor that could have made the list, but I felt really emotionally connected to Punk's promo. We're living in a society right now where people are very they get offended when you open up your heart and open up your mind and speak from the heart. It's just like you really have to watch what you say. And for someone like Punk to really just let loose and just say what he felt, and for people to really feel him and embrace him for it, it just really meant a lot to me. And he said a lot of the stuff which everyone really felt. And it's the fact that Punk was the guy that really got everything out there. We really have been waiting for someone just to step up, kick ass, and just deliver, a promo from the heart. And Punk finally did it.
I had been waiting for someone to do that for years. For years, I had been waiting for someone to do that. And when CM Punk came in, and I saw some of the things he had done in Ring of Honor, I saw maybe that's the guy who's going to do it. And then he did it. And especially, it's not just the impact of it, sort of totally, breaking kayfabe, right? That's what it's called. It's totally breaking the rules. And the way he did it, sitting in Indian style at the top of this, the stage like that, the top of the ramp, looking back at John Cena, and John Cena's kind of lying in the ring, just kind of looking at him. It's just sort of letting it all out there. It was beautiful because, it was very Steve Austin-esque. He even had a Steve Austin shirt on, and he was breaking all the rules, trying to be a heel. But you know what? After you cut a promo like that, and you wring out all of WWE's dirty laundry on their own show like that, you have to be a face,
Just fucking unbelievable. That's all I can say about it. Number 3, Bret Hart's screwed promo on Vince McMahon after he got screwed in the cage match. He actually lost he lost to Psycho Sid in the steel cage match.
Yeah.
And Vince McMahon, tried to interview him, and then Bret just went off. He just said, "Frustrated isn't the fucking word for it. I'm the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be, and everyone in that goddamn dressing room knows it." And pretty much the start of the whole Bret Hart heel turn.
Yeah, no, I when I watch that, I go, wow, that's the death of the babyface right there. Like, because Bret Hart was, super babyface. The excellence of execution, put sunglasses on one of the fans. And when he pushes Vince McMahon down and he basically screams down at him, it's just so emotional, and it's like, wow, this is really hot and heated for a baby face to be doing this in the middle of the ring. So he was in the middle of this big heel turn, and it's also just a great moment because there were so many things that happened between '96 and then the Montreal screw job in '97. There were so many things that happened leading up to that just foreshadowed it, and it was in the storyline, but it was also sort of real at the same time. And anytime you have that, that blurring, that boundary between fantasy and reality, that always makes for a good promo. In fact, most of the promos on this list, that's the reason why they're good. But that's what makes a great promo to me. That's what makes an impactful promo to me, is when they blur that line. And a lot of those Bret Hart promos, this one in particular, because he was so pissed off, because he was so angry, because he pushes Vince McMahon down, it's like, oh shit, this is for real.
All right, so at number 2 we have Triple H's The Game promo on JR, and a lot of people have mixed feelings about Triple H, but let me tell you, when you piss him off and when he's hungry and when he shoots from the heart, there's nobody better. I mean, it really just let out a lot of frustration. It's just one of those magical promos that just really set the tone for the greatness that will follow in that coming year.
Yeah, no, he really that was just a landmark in his career and for the Attitude Era. I think when you think back to the Attitude Era, this is such an important promo. I am the fucking game. And he just went off. And it was a short promo. It wasn't very long, but it was short and sweet, and he got his point across. And it was another one of those promos where, like, it was the promo that almost won him the championship. After he cut that promo in that summer, going forward, fighting The Rock, fighting the Rock and Austin, fighting Foley and Austin, it's almost like, without that promo, he wouldn't have, catapulted himself to that level. And that was the final thing he needed to do, was to come out and say, I'm sick of this shit, I'm taking that high spot, and I'm going to be the man. And he did it.
And the promo, to me, really showed that possibly the whole click situation at the Garden was probably the best thing that ever happened to Triple H's career. Because if it wasn't for that promo wouldn't have been that effective. All right, number 1, Steve Austin's King of the Ring promo. He said, talk about your books, talk about John 3:16. Well, Austin 3:16 said, I just whooped your ass. It pretty much, it just sums up everything. It really, the start of the whole, it really changed the business. Pretty much all I can say. It
changed the business, and the reason why it's high on the list is because of the impact that it had. I think also there's a sing-songy, sort of almost perfect ring to the way he said that. Well, Austin 3:16 just said, I just whipped your ass, and then the crowd pops. Like there's a turn in the crowd.
Right.
And it started after he said that. And when you do that with just a few words, it wasn't once again, this isn't a long promo, it's just a few words, that made an impact. It was such an impact on the industry because, once again, Austin ended up becoming the biggest thing the industry had ever seen, since Hulk Hogan. And it was that it showed that shift from the babyface, golden era of the WWE to the Attitude Era. Something needed to change, something needed to happen, and Steve Austin sort of brought that in.
Just very creative. I mean, we're talking about something very serious with the Bible, and to totally flip it and to kind of use that to kind of benefit yourself. It just felt very, very I don't know, just very, very groundbreaking. It just, Steve Austin, when Steve Austin is hungry and when he wants something, that guy is it's just unbelievable what the amount of greatness that he gave us. It's just unbelievable. So yeah, we're